Okay.
Good afternoon, or whatever part of the world you are, from where you are joining us, whether it's in the morning or it's in the afternoon. Uh, the world has conquered distance. Distance is now dead. So we want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Business Sustainability Series by Touchstone in association with Master Scale Consulting. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tunde Ojo, and I lead the Touchstone team. It's a pleasure. Once again, we always want to set the context that this is an initiative of Touchstone, and Touchstone is a global idea company, the brand strategy and communication consulting firm. We're in business to make our clients and their brands to be more successful in a complicated and changing world. I doubt whether anybody has seen change. Nobody in the history of the world has seen change like we have seen it in the last 5 months or thereabout. Welcome. BSS series is our initiative to look at the key drivers of sustainable business growth in a world characterized by crisis, chaos, and complexity. Experts talk about the VUCA word. We want to engage entrepreneurs, business leaders, and brand managers in their quest to finding solutions. And I tell you, it's a very difficult one, very difficult world in which we are now, and solutions seem very, very far away. We want to not only to survive, but also to first thought. We are fortunate to have this gentleman this afternoon, and I just like us to start by saying, business managers and entrepreneurs are stewards of assets employed in the running of organizations. Now, the deployment of these resources is fundamental to the survival of their enterprise. While a buoyant economy can afford easy replenishment of depleted production inputs and pardon some level of resource management recklessness, a struggling on a depreciating market may not be that forgiving. How can organizations manage and maximize their finances during an economic downturn? Now, in response to this question, we have found a gentleman who is going to provide all the answers this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to welcome our special guest for Business Sustainability Series number 14. His name is Pedro Omontuemhen. Pedro Omontuemhen is a partner in the international accounting firm of PwC. He is currently the leader of the oil and gas industry group in West Africa and the country operations partner. In his professional role, he has provided accounting, auditing, and consulting services to clients in different sectors of the economy. Pedro Omontuemhen obtained a BSc degree in geography and planning from the University of Lagos, 1990, and an MBA from the University of Warwick, UK, in 2011. He's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, and a member of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. He is also, he's bivocational. It's fantastic. The Americans call them bivocational. In all of these, he's also the lead pastor of the headquarters of Foundation of Truth Assembly. The church, the organization is based in Surulere, Lagos. He is married with children. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Pedro Omontuemhen, partner, PwC Nigeria, to BSS, Touchstone BSS 14. Please, let me welcome it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Tunde. Thank you very much for the invitation.
It's a pleasure. So I'll be glad if we can unpack what you have to share so that we have a lot of time to share. And you can speak through your slides, and then we can do the slides later. You can speak through.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much, Mr. Tunde. It's a privilege and an honor to be here, to be at the Touchstone Business Continuity Series 14. I know you've invited greater men than this, so I'm kind of afraid when you called me to say, Pedro, please join. I was worried that, what have you seen in me? But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share from my experience, and I'm looking forward to the question and answer session. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, very clear, very clear.
Fantastic. So I have slides which we can share later on. Sometimes slides just distracts from the presentation and from discussion. But managing corporate finance during a downturn is what we're talking about this afternoon. In fact, I was tempted to add managing personal finances during a downturn, but that's a separate story all by itself. But some of the lessons we can apply both to your personal and to your corporate business. As the introductions went, in addition to just being partner in the firm of PricewaterhouseCoopers Lagos, I'm also the partner responsible for operations, in which case finance is one of the things I oversee in PwC and helping to manage PwC finances locally. So I will start with definition so that we can set perspective, right? First, let me quickly add that in the 35-minute slot that we have, there is no way I can go through the whole gamut of corporate finance in 35 minutes. It's a course all by itself, but we're just focusing and narrowing on a few issues to deal with respect to a downturn. So let me define corporate finance. So corporate finance, we're talking about companies' decision in respect to capital investment and other investment-related decisions. What are you investing in, capital investment, and when and how should you invest? Corporate finance also involves your short-term financial decisions that affect operations. Corporate finance also involves sourcing for capital, whether it's long-term debt or equity. Corporate finance also is part of the management of your current assets, your current liabilities, your inventory, and your payment to shareholders. All of that is all of that activity is covered by corporate finance. I'm sure you've heard of the maxim that cash is king and profit is an opinion. So in this era that we're in, it cannot be more true than it is now, that cash is king and profit is an opinion. So it doesn't matter what you think, your profit is an opinion, which the auditor will sign off on, but do you have the cash in the bank and do you have the cash to operate? Now let's define a downturn. A downturn, according to the sentiment called Campbell Havin, define a downturn as a period of contraction or decline of economic activity, especially real GDP, gross domestic product, but also a period when there is a downturn in employment. A downturn can also be called a transition of an economy from growth to contraction. Okay, so an economy was growing and growing, all of a sudden it starts contracting, we say it's a downturn. So we're looking at corporate finance in a downturn, so managing corporate finance in a downturn. So the question is Nigeria facing a downturn? That was my slide number 3. I think the big fat answer is yes. Nigeria is facing a downturn. Just yesterday, I read this from the Punch newspaper. This was the Minister of State for Finance and Budget, Mr. Clement Agba, saying that the COVID-19 pandemic resulting in crash of global oil prices, among other factors, have adversely affected the nation's economy with gross domestic product for Q2 most likely to be negative. So Q2, Nigeria, your GDP is going to be likely negative. And if we're going to grow at all, I think the projection by the World Bank and all the other agencies show that we're going to be a very slow growth or even a limited or negative growth. So given the twin impact of COVID-19 and the low oil prices, it's important for governments, for business owners, for investors, for entrepreneurs, for professionals of all walks of life to learn how to manage their finances more seriously than before. It's a big challenge we're in. And I think if you ask me from my point of view, the low oil price is going to be low for a very long time. I think we are done with $100 per barrel. That will not come back for a long time to come. We are now gradually climbing out of the 30s and 40s, and we're gradually in the mid 40s as of yesterday in terms of oil price. And you know, for the listeners out there, that Nigeria is a mono economy. We depend upon the oil. So as the oil goes, so goes the economy. Thankfully, there are tools and ways to manage your finances during a downturn. And let me quickly add that this is not the first downturn we're having as a country, and this will not be the last downturn. That's not a prayer, but that's a fact of life. The economy will go through the boom and the bust. So this will not be the first, and this is not going to be the last downturn. So if you don't badly this downturn, I encourage you to prepare for the next downturn, because there'll be a downturn, and you need to prepare for it and manage your finances appropriately during the downturn. Now, how do you chart your way out? How do you chart your way out? Number one is that doing nothing is not an option. I remember in my MBA class, you will say that do nothing is an option. Just do nothing and stay where you are. So, but for managing your business finances during a downturn, doing an option is not an option. So inaction is the riskiest response to uncertainty in an economic crisis. Just do nothing is not an option. And I remember the popular video that be trending. And my advice is calm down, okay? Don't panic, just calm down. Like, you remember the boy that told mommy, calm down. And I think even the governor says he has adapted that as his phrase, calm down. So calm down, but don't do nothing, okay? Don't go into rash or scattered action, run up and down the whole place. Anxiety is not the solution. You need to calm down and take coordinated and well thought out steps to manage your response. So a disorganized response can also generate a sense of panic in an organization, and therefore you need to avoid panic, calm down, think properly, and then take action. One thing I do know is that in every darkness, there's light. I think, like you introduced me as a pastor, and I'm not ashamed to be a pastor, even the very beginning, God says, let there be light, and there was light. So in the midst of darkness, obviously there's light, and we should need to look for the light in the darkness. So there's always hidden treasures, hidden opportunity in every economic bad news. So what are the approaches for combating a downturn? So I'm going to turn to a competing consulting firm, Boston Consulting, who's come up with approaches that you can use to manage a downturn. And this is quite popular and something you can check out yourself. One thing that companies should do is the first step, you need to stabilize your business. Stabilization of the business is very important. Somebody says, before you go and attack, please first defend. Okay, in this kind of era that we're in, a downturn, before you attack, you need to first defend. So stabilize your business, protecting it from the downside risk and ensuring that it has liquidity necessary to weather the crisis. You must ensure that you have liquidity to weather the crisis before you start thinking of capitalizing on the downturn for longer term goals and exploiting the mistakes of others and the opportunities that arise. So there are two steps we're looking at this afternoon. First of all, stabilize your business before you think of maximizing and capitalizing on the mistakes of others to expand your business and take opportunities that exist even in every downturn. In every downturn, there's an opportunity. In every downturn, I think that if there's any message I want to leave with you today, that in every downturn, if you're able to manage your finances properly, you will come out stronger and come out better than you went into the downturn. So there are exposures in every business. There are exposures in every situation. I'm sure the popular SWOT analysis, you know that very well. So the first step for a company to take in a challenging environment, especially one that could affect you, is to check your own vulnerabilities. What are my vulnerabilities as a business, both at the business level and at the company level? What are my vulnerabilities? You need to assess that. You need to do your own SWOT analysis before you can begin to think of taking opportunities that exist. Now, I have in my slide here the impact of COVID-19 on various sectors of the economy. And I would like us, I wish we had the opportunity to do, but you can just bring out a sheet of paper in your homes or offices, bring out a sheet of paper, and I'm going to be calling out various sectors of the economy. And I'm going to ask you whether the impact has been high or low or medium, either high, medium, or low, and also has the impact been positive or negative. So impact of COVID-19. So is it high, medium, or low? Is it positive or negative? So the first one I have is education. What is the impact of COVID-19 on education? Is it high, medium, or low? Okay. What is the impact of COVID-19 on aviation and tourism? High, medium, or low? What is the impact of COVID-19 on hospitality? High, medium, low? What is the impact of COVID-19 on retailing, particularly supermarkets? Is it high, medium, or low? Okay. What is the impact of COVID-19 on consulting? Your business, my business. What is the impact of COVID-19 on consulting? High, medium, or low? Okay. What is the impact of COVID-19 on physical sports? High, medium, low? Healthcare, housing, agriculture, gaming. So whatever sector you are in or whatever sector you are interested in, I would like you to do this analysis. Impact of COVID-19, is it high, medium, low? Is it positive? Is it negative? Now, when you do that analysis, that's the first step in just checking out your own vulnerability. Clearly, without any shadow of argument, if you look at the aviation or tourism sector, you will agree with me that the impact of COVID-19 has been, I was tempted to say extremely high, but I think that it has been extremely high and it has been a negative impact. You heard the story of Virgin and what Richard Branson has done in the US, trying to save his company from collapse. So the impact of COVID-19 has been very, very high. In Nigeria, for example, even with the lifting of air flights and local flights, the load factor for most planes have been less than 30 or thereabouts. So the impact of COVID-19 on the aviation sector in Nigeria has been high, and I think globally also. So please do this analysis for your business and then see the impact, and then begin to think of how to come out and of the depression. As an economic crisis evolves, there needs to be at least 3 scenarios. As the crisis evolves, you need to come up with 3 scenarios. A modest downturn. If this crisis is a modest downturn, how do I deal with it? If it's a more severe downturn, how do I deal with it? If it's a full-blown downturn, how do I deal with it? And this downturn is determined by the duration and severity. So you need to come up with a scenario. You come up with scenario building and say what's going to be the impact on this. So we'll go back to education. If the lockdown is on for much longer and I run a secondary school and I run a primary school, what will be the impact on my finances? If it's for 6 months, for 1 year, what will be the impact of my finances? So you go back to those various sectors that you operate in and you ask yourself, what will be the impact? Will it be, if it's high, medium, or low? Is it a short, medium, a long, medium, or is it a severe medium? If it's a high impact, is it over what period? So look at duration of the depression and how it will affect your business, whether it's a modest, whether it's severe or full-blown. So all of this analysis you need to do, and after you've done the scenario, then it will help you in taking the appropriate steps for your business. So consider which scenario is likely going to unfold in your industry and your business, and then based on that data analysis, you need to think of what steps you need to take. So you want to determine ways in which the scenario might affect your business. How will the consumer's limited capacity to borrow reduce demand for your products? How will job insecurity and deflating asset price make even the creditworthiness of your customers? How will it affect your customers? How will your reduced demand affect your ability to secure short-term financing? Or how will the weak stock market make it difficult to raise equity? All of those are questions you need to ask for yourselves, the what if scenario, and then quantify the impact on your business. You need to quantify the impact of your business. You need to run simulation for each scenario that's going to come up, and then how will it affect the major variables, your sales, your price, your variable cost. All of that you need to do in just getting to know your business and assessing your own vulnerability before you take the next step. And the next step is, how are your competitors faring? How are they doing? Every business you have competition. You need to also assess your competitors, again, using the SWOT analysis, your strength, weakness, opportunity test, to know what your competitors are doing and the likely step they are taking and what steps you will be taking. At the end of this COVID-19 and the pandemic, some companies will no longer exist. That is a fact of life. Some companies will just go bust, but some companies also will boom. So even in the midst of crisis, some will do very well and others will not do very well. Now, let's begin, because of the time that we have here, let's look at how do you reduce your exposure during this crisis. So I said you need to protect your business and you need to think of the future. How do I protect my business? You need to protect your fundamentals. There are fundamentals that are very important to you. Your cash flow, is it adequate? Do I have enough cash flowing into my business? Okay. Do I have access to capital? Can I borrow? Can I get equity investors in? Have I employed a disciplined cash management system? Am I disciplined? Is my cash management disciplined? Okay, or am I just still living the life the way it was before COVID-19? So you need to protect the fundamentals, and in one of these things you do in ensure that you have adequate cash flow is to think of ways to improve your cash flow. You need to improve the cash flow. So one of the ways you want to improve your cash flow is to look at your working capital. Your working capital is your inventory, your cash, your creditors, your payables and receivables. How do I manage my working capital so I ensure I have enough cash within my business? So let's take a result, for example, cash collections. Okay, you sell your goods and your customers do not pay you until 60 days, until 90 days. Can I continue to live without 60 days and 90 days collection? Maybe the answer is no. So what can I do? How can I incentivize early payment of my debt so people can pay me earlier? So because I need cash in the business. Don't forget I said earlier on, cash is king and cash is the life of a business. So you need to come up with ways to ensure that your cash collection is improved. So I was talking to some of my staff yesterday, my audit staff, and I was telling them that, look, right now, you're going to do an audit in January or in February or in December, and then once you're through with the audit, you raise a bill, and the guy takes you another 30 to 60 days to pay your bill. Why don't you agree with the client right now to say, okay, let's split up this bill into 12 equal months or 10 equal months, and I can issue you an invoice right now. You start paying me small. So by the time I get to December, I've actually collected my bill. So you need to come up with inventive and creative ways to ensure that you have cash in your business, because you need cash to manage your business. If you have customers and you think that your customers are likely to default because your own business have been affected, then you have to be careful how you give loans or credit to those customers, because the likelihood of default is high. So manage your customers' risk to ensure that your credit risk, to ensure that the customers don't default, because you want to stay in the business. Again, you think also of options that you can optimize your financial structure. Do I bring more shareholders? Do I go and take long-term loans? There are options available in the banking industry. The Bank of Industry is giving out some loans. CBN is giving out some guaranteeing some loans. Some banks are even now more favorable to give you loans, and also you can discuss with your bankers to kind of restructure your current loan arrangement. I think it was early February or early January. Early April, sorry. I called a friend of mine who's into property business and said, okay, I know you are owing a bank money, but will it be wise right now to write to the bank to say, look, because of COVID-19, give me 6 months break, holiday to just take a break. And of course, he went over and above what I told him, and asked for 1 year moratorium. And the bank gave him, wrote back to him and said, okay, we're giving you 6 months moratorium. So you need to do that kind of arrangement with your banks and with your creditors right now, so that you ensure you have enough cash within the business to keep the business going, particularly if you think your business is worth it and you don't want to be impacted by the crisis that we're currently going. So engage. One of the things you must not do is not to hide your head in the sand like an ostrich and hope and pray that things go away. You must engage. You must engage with your creditors. You must engage with your bankers. You must engage with your financiers in order to improve the cash flow in your business. Now, protecting your existing business, again, you need to reduce cost and increase efficiency. And that's one area where we struggle a lot in reducing cost. I found out, for example, in most organizations, when they want to cut costs, the cost you cut first is the cost of the T-boy and the T-gay. And I'm saying, come on, guys, that is not the cost that will really have impact on your business, okay? Cutting the cost of the T-boy or T-gay, okay, yes, but that might be important depending on your size of business, but the T-boy or T-gay is not going to significantly, dramatically improve your cash flow. So if, for example, the MD says, I'm no longer going to fly in business class when I'm going to Abuja or when I'm going to London, I'm going to be flying economy. This cost you save from that is huge, isn't it? Compare the cost you save from sacking the T-boy or T-gay. No, why I'm not saying you should not sack the T-boy or T-gay, I'm saying that you should look at your total cost and strip out all of those things that are really not important, all the nice to have that is not really affecting the business. So everything to be reviewed. Nothing should be sacrosanct. Nothing should be untouchable. All costs should be reviewed at this time, and any cost that's really not important should be done away with. Try and make your cost as variable as possible and not fixed. A fixed cost does not give you room for maneuvering. If your costs are variable, then you're able to maneuver your cost. So come up with the cost reduction mechanism and improve efficiency in the process. Strip out layers of organization that are not important. Consolidate and centralize key functions as much as possible. Discontinue long-standing but low-value-adding activities and review everything. In part of cost reduction, review everything. Everything should be reviewed. Everything should be reviewed. I remember a company in the oil and gas sector. I think this was the first wave of crisis we had 4 or 5 years ago. The MD started flying business class. Started flying economy. The MD said, no, I'm not flying business anymore, I'm flying economy. And they started writing examples. And all of those foreign trainings that were absolutely not useful, the MD said, no more foreign training. Okay? And now we're in the world of Zoom. I'm so glad for Zoom. Now, this course we're having this morning, Mr. Tundojo would have put us in a hotel, we have expensive lunch, and then, that would cost us a lot of money. But now, apart from my bandwidth for the internet, it's virtually free. So we need to start thinking of ways to re-engineer our businesses and rethink our models that we're running. Number 3 or 4, you need to rethink your product mix. What is my current product mix? What is the pricing strategy? You need to focus on profitable customers, profitable products, and profitable segments of your business. There are parts of your business that are not profitable. As much as possible, please move away from it. Now, if you're having an ambitious investment program, it might be a time to stay back on that. Stay back on the ambitious investment program, particularly if you think that the economies are not just right or if the economies are just marginal. In the oil and gas sector, for example, a lot of the IOCs have kind of reined in on their investment program because of the current price, the economies were just marginal. It was not worth their time or their money. Divest non-core businesses. There are businesses that are really not core to your operation. Please divest it. Separate emotions from reality. Okay, sometimes we are very attached to some part of our businesses and we want to hold on to that. Please try and separate emotions from reality, because now you want to go in with your head and not your heart. You want to go in with reasons and logic and not just emotions. Okay. So I'm sure there are going to be a lot of questions coming out of that, and we can share more stories, more war stories on how to deal with such issues. So you need to maximize your valuation, particularly if you're thinking of selling your business. You need to ensure you maximize your valuation of your business relative to your competition. I would encourage that you try and communicate with your investors. If you're not the one-man business, you need to communicate with your investors. You need to know what's going on. If you are used to paying out hefty dividend, it might be a time to kind of hold on dividend and put in more cash into the business. Just retain the cash into the business and not pay out dividend. So those are two prongs. One is your current situation, manage your current situation, protect your current business, and two, think about the future. I'm mindful of time here. You need to think of the future. So while you're managing your current business with all of those steps we talked about, you also need to think of what is the future holding. Now, during the crisis, it's easy to think that this is the end of the world. Let me just stay here. Let me just survive now and not think of the future. But it will be a big mistake not to think of tomorrow. There will be a tomorrow. Like they say, these two shall come to pass. There will be a tomorrow. So you need to think of the future in your business planning. What is the future going to hold? And how do I invest for the future, even in the midst of this pandemic and crisis that we're going through? I'll give an example, and maybe this will support Mr. Tudo Joe, who is into the marketing and advertising space. If, for example, you cut down excessively on your advertising costs right now, advertising investment, you may do a lot more work when you come out of the pandemic. So be careful what kind of cost you are cutting. So don't cut the cost that will cut your business, okay, if that's a good way to put it. So please invest for the future. If there are opportunities to pursue M&A, mergers and acquisition, okay, please pursue that, because you will have some weak competitors who have the right type of assets and right type of values and right type of business that you would like to acquire. This might be a good time. If you are cash rich, this might be a good time to look out for those weaker fellows you can actually acquire and become bigger post pandemic. And all over the world, there are stories of people who have taken advantage of the pandemic and of economic downturn to become stronger after the downturn. It's time to also rethink your business models just to ensure that we are doing well. I think this will be a blessing in disguise, and to be a battle for us to waste it. So just sit back and rethink my business. Am I doing the right business? Am I doing it well? I know a lot of people right now who are saying, we have been taught and be told now by as a result of this sit at home that we can actually work from home. So all of a sudden, for example, the office space might now become redundant. Why do I need 100 feet of office accommodation, 100 meters or whatever, if I can do without it? Wow. All of a sudden, I found out that I don't have to pay for tea morning, afternoon, evening, because people are in their home drinking their tea. If they can deliver work from home, post-COVID-19, maybe the answer would be, guys, stay at home, come to work once a week, and let's just have time to meet. So it's time to rethink our business model so that you come out of this much better than before. You need to take action. You need to take action. So prioritize the action you want to take, carefully assessing each initiative based on several criteria. There are various options that are going to come your way. You need to sit back and prioritize. Not everything you should run after. You cannot run after everything. So prioritize on the basis of urgency, on the basis of overall financial impact, on the basis of the barriers to implement, and of course, on the basis of what risk I pose to the rest of my business by pursuing this option. So when options are come your way, prioritize on the basis of urgency, overall financial impact, barriers to implementation, and the risk this option will pose to the rest of your business. Who is going to go and implement this? Who will implement all of these options? All of these options to bring in more cash, all of these options to manage my investors, all of these options to manage my bankers. Who is going to do this? You need to have what I call a crisis management team. Cash is important for your business. Therefore, it's something that you, as the MD, as the investor, as the leader of the business, you need to pay attention to. Ensure that you have a team that's competent. You need to have a competent finance personnel. You need to have the right level of information in your business to take the right decision. So if you have not invested in technology, I think you are a few days too late, but it's a good time to invest in technology because you need the right level of technology to give you the right level of information to take the right level and the right appropriate level of action. So invest in the right personnel who will give you the right information, and then you can take the right decision based on the technology that you have. Okay, so I'm kind of bringing it to a close now. Now, if you manage your business finances properly during this downturn, you are likely going to turn your challenges into opportunities. I'll tell that again. If you manage your business finances properly, you have enough cash in the business, there are a lot of things you can do that your competitors who do not have cash will not be able to do. There's nothing as bad as a cash-strapped business. You may have assets, you may have a lot of potentials, you may have goodwill, but if you don't have cash in your business, you are likely going to face a lot of trouble. So, whether you're going to sell off your non-core assets, whether you're going to turn in cash as quickly as possible, whether you're going to engage with your bankers to give you additional financing, you need to take this seriously because cash is the lifeblood of your business. So my heart desire for everyone listening tonight is that you need to plan properly, you need to execute properly, you need to excel properly. Where you need help, please don't hesitate to seek for help so that you can turn the challenges you have into opportunities post-COVID-19. So I'm going to pause there and leave room for questions and answers. Mr. Tunde, over to you, sir. Hello, Tunde. Yes.
I think well, please, Timothy Adibowale, can you help us to mute? Please mute your mic. Please. I wouldn't want us to unmute. If you like, unmute your mic for a second. Let's give Mr. Pedro Omontuemhen a huge round of applause for such a great time. Can you I mean, you can just unmute for a moment and or do it on your behalf. What a thought of us. What an impressive, Mr. Wande. Baba Wande said, what an impressive delivery. I am not surprised because, we're dealing with a top-notch, first-class mind in consulting in PwC, one of the big four. That's what they call them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Omontuemhen. It was breathing with knowledge, insight, and understanding. And I mean, I'm not surprised because you've been able to weave knowledge, know-how, even with allusion to scriptures. Being a pastor that you have, will create a huge value for everyone that they are scared to listen. And you have done it in considerably good time. I don't know whether I'm going to bore by, talking again about what you have mentioned, but I will want to mention a couple of things, maybe in 2 minutes before the Q&A we start. The chat room is open, and I tell you, this is one of our best sessions so far. I mean, every session, I will keep improving this, and it's amazing that we've been very grateful. We've been very fortunate to have great minds like Mr. Pedro Omontuemhen to unpack solutions that can help. I can tell you, as an organization, as a leader of an organization, is speaking directly to me. A whole lot of us as organizational leaders are at the crux of all the things that he's talking about. And I mean, and I'm not talking theory. I'm not talking theory here. So he was talking about a defined corporate finance and also wanted to tell us that cash is king He also defined a downturn to be growth, from growth to contraction. Give an example of our country. He moved on to talk about the projection by World Bank concerning what is happening in our country, lower prices, and he said, as oil price goes, so goes the economy. It's fantastic. And then he looked at what is going to, the recession is not going to last. This is not the first time we are experiencing recession. This is not going to be the last time. And that doing nothing is not an option. Any strategy that says you should not do anything is not an option. Just yesterday, our company had to make an important decision, move towards a particular direction, because we just can't stay to do nothing in the midst of crisis. And the anxiety is not a solution. Panic is not an answer. Throwing up your hands and wishing that something will change, without doing anything is not an answer. I don't know. I think I keep forgetting it, because I left physics a long time ago. Newton law of motion, whether it's the first one, that look, an object stays in the same place except force is applied to it. I don't know whether it's
I left physics to myself, so I don't understand physics anymore.
Okay, there are scientists in the room, so effort. And he said, in every darkness there are hidden opportunities. And then they looked at approaches to downturns by looking at the model by the Boston Consulting Group. Boston Consulting Group, one of the big greats when it comes to strategy, and talked about stabilizing your business. Before you attack first, you have to defend. Every thought is an opportunity. He then told us to go do an analysis of which kind of industry in which we are and how the pandemic has attacked our industry, has affected it, if you like, whether it's high, whether it's medium, or whether it's low, that you need to do this math, you need to do this analysis, or else you will not be able to provide your company an opportunity. We talked about 3 scenarios that must be built: modest, a downturn, more severe downturn, full-blown, and time is a variable that is very important. So consider the scenarios, consider the data, and then take a look at your capacity to borrow, creditworthiness, ask a whole lot of questions on the impact of the pandemic on your business. Look at your competitors. How are they faring? What are they doing right? And honestly, every business will have to look at that. Then protect your business by protecting the fundamentals. Can I borrow? Is my cash management, is it okay? Is it discipline? How do I improve my cash? How do I manage my working capital? What is my cash collection, assets, inventory to assets? They call it in banking. Inventory to cash collection, 60 days, 90 days. Why can't you give an incentive? Incentivize your clients so that they can pay in bits. There's a gentleman who spoke to me. He's an old man, and he has tenants. He said when he discovered there was recession, he just told his tenants, open a book. Just open a book. Anytime, whatever you get, if you have 10,000,
that's creative.
Very, very creative. Just 10,000. Just write it and put it there so that nobody will forget. You open a book for them. 5,000. Instead of paying nothing and just, both of us will be looking at benefit. Structure your current loan. If you speak to your banker, he spoke about reducing cost and increasing efficiency. He gave the illustration of the T-boys and the T-girls. Why go and reduce the cost of T-boys and T-girls when you can move from business class to economy, something that will improve your cost and help you to consolidate. Review your products. Look at non-profitable one. Sell assets that are not performing. Separate emotion from reasons, and going on and on and on and on of that. He eventually told us to take actions by prioritizing, but in taking action, we need to prioritize the action. What will it mean? How will you get this done? What should be first? What should be next? And then in doing that, he said, set up a crisis management team, look at competent people, look at technology that can help you, and look at, he said it in a veiled manner, but being a consultant that he is, said, look at people who can be of help to you.
Talk to PwC.
That's the pastor's speech. You wouldn't want to seem like someone who's asking for money, or doing advertising without Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
PwC Nigeria, Mr. Pedro Omontuemhen. It's great time. Now let's look at questions and comments and intervention. I'd like to quickly look at the chat room and see. Oh, it's full of praise. Impressive delivery. Thank you very much. Insightful session. One day, all over from the US, except he's back. Habib Jayola, very practical and realistic. Terry Maxwell, great, sir. Oladipo Abiodun, great and concise delivery. Thank you. Kemi Lansing, very well delivered, brilliant. Thank you very much. Also called a Pastor Pedro. Okay, thank you, sir. Lawrence Mioparia, thank you, sir. This is very wonderful delivery. Now, Newton, somebody, okay, a scientist as Ouija now. I think the person I know him is an engineer. The Newton's first law states that every object will remain at rest or in uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change its state by action of an external force. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's fantastic.
For giving us the dimension of science. For those of us who left pure science a long time ago, we couldn't endure it. We had to look for things that could help us. Now, we don't have questions directly, but I want Mr. Omontuemhen to start looking as an experienced consultant. The question is, you are giving us practical, you are giving us principles. You've mentioned practical things, but are there stories you want to share based on your, without mentioning the client's name or whatever, based on your consulting experience in this? I mean, obviously, PwC is a global giant in this area, and you have helped people in many cultures, many climates, and across continents, and even in our country. So, are there stories of impact that you like to share with us? If you like case studies, without necessarily talking about details that might embarrass the companies. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. I'm sure there are a lot of stories we can share about dealing with situations like this with respect to managing finances in a downturn. So earlier on, I talked about a certain oil executive who, in order to lead by example, chose to fly economy because he wanted to say, look, oil price was down. This was about 5 years ago. Oil price is down. We don't have enough money. So I needed to lead by example by flying economy. And therefore, everybody flies economy. And of course, no more overseas training. As we all know, most people on the call would know that for most people in the public sector, overseas training is much more a way of settling the boys and getting extra code as against the quality of training you really will get from the training. Because a lot of those training can be done locally, or at best flying the facilitator, and he or she will teach you here instead of everybody, all 13, 14, 15 of you going to the UK or the US to get the training. So those are things that you can start that person did in order to just manage cost. If you ask me, one big issue will be leading from the front. The leader needs to lead from the front. You cannot tell your people to cut costs and you are looking fat and flourishing. You cannot tell your staff that cost management and cost containment is important and you are not exhibiting it. It is not going to work. People are going to see you and will not follow you. So you have to lead from the front. You have to lead by examples, and you also have to demonstrate that's important. So engaging with your bankers is important, like I mentioned that. But if you have loans to your bank, you must engage with your bank. You don't run away from the bank. Now, if you are living a lavish lifestyle, a loud lifestyle, and you are owing the banks will not understand why you will not pay them their money. Okay? So your son is getting married, your daughter is getting married, you throw a 100 million party, you invite the best musicians, and the following day, the bankers are going to come knocking your door for their money. So your lifestyle, if you are saying, oh, there's no money, and you're living in this, and there was a story of a particular guy who would do like that. The following day, threw a party on Saturday. The following Monday, the banks were in his house or in his office asking for the money. So it's important that your life is consistent with the message you are giving. If you're telling your bank there's no money, they need to see you do that. If you are saying, there's a funny story, talking about funny stories of a guy who, so I think he ran like a school organization. He wanted to cut costs. He was earning 250 and his staff were earning like 70 or 80. And he said, oh, let's cut costs. There's no money. So what did he do? For the guys who were earning 70 or 80, he removed 10,000 naira from their salary, 10,000. So if anybody was earning 70, now became to earn 60. If you're earning 80, now became to earn 70. This guy was earning 250. Guess how much he removed? I think he removed 20,000 from those salary. If for anybody who is good in mathematics, that ratio does not make sense at all. You've removed 10,000 from 70,000, remove 10,000 from 80,000, then remove 20,000 from 250. The ratio doesn't make sense. So you're not leading from the front. You're not showing the right examples, and nobody's going to take you seriously. So, I mean, there are much more that we can talk about these, but clearly, you need to ensure you demonstrate goodwill and you are leading from the front. If you have stock that are obsolete, this is a bad time to have stock that are obsolete. It's better to just get them out. Now, it's better for you to have cash, even if your profit margin is low, but you have cash in the business, than going for that high premium and no cash. So my advice would be have a low premium and more cash than have high premium but no cash. Because like I said, cash in this period is very important. With cash in your hand, you can do a lot more things. Thank you, Mr. Tunde.
Thank you for answering that question in a very, very succinct and good way. Someone is asking, his name is Lawrence Milparia. I happen to know him. That he's the PhD in, I think, in accounting. He said, in this period of COVID-19, will SWOT analysis work for all companies? That's the question he's asking. I want to ask,
yes.
SWOT analysis, will it work for all companies in the era of the pandemic? That's his question. I want you to expatiate or say a little bit more on the cost that must be cost. Over the years, I've had to tell our clients that you don't cut the cost that will help you. For example, whether you like it, call it advertising, call it promotion, call it digital marketing, that is not the cost you want to cut at a time like this. The Economist of London has made a business case for not cutting such costs, because you have made a case for it that at the end of the day, when people forget about you, it's going to be more difficult to get back.
Yes.
So you want to say a couple of things on all the area. I think you have mentioned quite a whole lot of cost and the relationship to don't cut the cost that will cut your business. That's what you say.
Yes.
I want to say a couple of things more on that. Just do those questions and then we'll be bringing this to a close.
Okay. Let me start with, and thanks, Mr. Lawrence, Dr. Lawrence, for joining the call. SWOT analysis, is this important for businesses in a situation like this? Yes, because I would suggest that the SWOT talking about your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Okay, now most of that analysis, people would like to do it as forces within the company itself, even though sometimes you look at your threat as also external and your opportunity as external, and then you have to look at the environment itself. Okay, so environment is where I think the pandemic will fall in. Everybody is affected by the pandemic, or most people are affected. Okay, either positive or negative. We're talking about companies that were affected. If you look at the business, for example, the guys who are in home delivery, food delivery business, they've done very well in this pandemic. The head pharmacy have done very well, because before this, I think I've never bought, is it zinc or vitamin C or vitamin D? No, who buys zinc? Who buys vitamin D? But now I'm sure you don't even see enough of that in pharmacy anymore. So the pharmacists have done pretty well. So if they have to do their own SWOT, they would like the pandemic to continue, because the pharmacy is coming to do well. So yes, Mr. Lawrence, SWOT is important because you need to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And of course, you have to also understand the environment where you are working and what the factors affecting the environment. So SWOT, I say, is still important even in pandemic. On the cost that must be cut, sir, I think I kind of phrased it to say, don't cut the cost that will cut your business. So advertising is important. But for example, product development, I will not do now. If you're developing a new product, okay, you have to be careful, except if that product is going to solve COVID issue. Brand new products I may not do, but in terms of advertising my current products and putting myself in the face of people so they remember me, I would like to continue that. Okay, so if there are costs that are not important, you cut. I'll give an example. In my office, for example, we just had a staff meeting, another staff meeting. Before this time, we go and rent a big hall. Okay, bring a DJ, do something big. But this time with COVID-19, there's none of that. We just do something by Zoom online. Everybody dance in your house, wear shirt in your house, eat your food in your house, and stay in your house. So it means that cost was a variable cost. It means that cost was not important for our business. Salaries is important, so we continue to pay salaries. Telecoms is important, so we want to pay telecoms. Okay, so there are things that are very important for survivor. There are things that are not important for survivor. So what you need to do with this reviewing all costs, review your costs. Say, what can I do without? So cut out what you cannot do without and stick with what you can do and what's important for the survivor and the sustainers of your business. At the end of the day, we are talking about sustainable cost reduction program. You have to be sustainable. You have to be a cost reduction program that continue to keep your business alive and not kill your business. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Omontuemhen. One more question, and I think we'll bring this to a close. Baba Shola Enoch is asking, in regards to selling more products and services, how can a company sell more when companies, that is buyers, are trying to cut costs? Will reducing prices with a strategy to reduce price be a good strategy? That's the question he's asking.
Okay. Now, price reduction strategy is not a strategy you go into without proper thinking. Okay. I think that's what I call it a strategy. That would be a strategy to the price reduction. Okay. So, for example, if I reduce price and I get more volume, okay, if I reduce the price of my product, knowing I'm going to get more volume, I do not mind doing a price reduction strategy because I know I'm getting more business. But cutting price just for the sake of cutting price can be dangerous because, particularly in my line of business in consulting, you find out that when you cut price, it's not easy to get back to where you would like to get to because the customers will now resist it. Okay, so I remember, I think this was in the 80s, and one of these, Mr. Tuli, you may remember, one of these guys who I think was African milk or something. Yeah. In those days, we were not drinking milk in sachets. Mm-hmm. Okay, we were drinking milk in tins.
That's
okay?
Right.
I was a young boy then. So this guy came around. We had a tough time in Nigeria then. He now did things in peak milk. I mean, in sachets. A lot of them started buying this. At the end of the day, because he brought it down, everybody could buy. I'm sure that guy had more volume. The price came down, but he had more volume. So whatever he lost in price, he gained in volume. So you must have a thinking around it. Don't just cut your price for cutting sake. There must be a thinking. Can I draw more people in? Can I sell more products to them? Can I do ancillary services that kind of pay for what I'm losing in the price? So again, talk to your consultants.
I like that. That's also another veiled advertisement, but it's okay. It's allowed. I think as we bring this to a close, what is paining me is that I wish I could pack the whole of entrepreneurs that I know, business decision makers, to be at this forum every Saturday. And I'm not talking about because I'm the host. I'm just talking about the value that the guests that we bring help us to create. Like what you have just heard, what you have just listened to, I wish every business owner in Nigeria, or Nigerians in diaspora, to be modest, is in this room, is in this seminar. And I sincerely appreciate the value that you have created for us, Mr. Pedro Omontuemhen, partner, PwC Nigeria.
Thank you so much, sir.
You've done extremely well. We have seen the brilliance that you don't occupy such seats just for the fun of it. You don't just walk around the park and get the kind of knowledge that can make you a consultant. I want to say that I want to appreciate everyone that has kept faith with us, and to say that every Saturday, 3 to 4, you are going to be sent a mail, and it's free. We feel strongly that is the way for us to engage and make a contribution to the business community. And we are fortunate that to have fantastic faculty. one of the very best that has been on this platform has been coming along with us and supporting us. I will not mention his name, but he's a big business owner. He's on this platform today, and he keeps coming. Sometimes I just wonder, because this is a man that when he's sleeping, he's making money. It's like, what is this man looking for? What is this man looking for? What is it that we are doing that is of interest? I've also discovered people who, from time to time, since this is a 14th in the series,
edition, yeah,
it's the 14th edition. They've been there with us. I'll just mention a couple of names, and please pardon me if I've not mentioned yours. I'm sure it's going to be. I mean, Reverend Adegbeson is a distinguished minister that we all know. The first time he came, the second time he was around, he came back with about 10 people, to join us the following. Please tell others about this. If you think it's of benefit to you, it's free and it's something. Knowledge is not shared, is useless. And that is exactly what we are doing here. Mrs. Abiodun Ogunkami. If you know Tunji Ogunkami, you should know Abiodun Ogunkami. Madam, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Bola Oguntade, thank you for joining us. Paul Ibinova, thank you for joining us. Arit Ekwehu, thank you for joining us. Joachim, I think he joined us just last Saturday. Was it last Saturday? He's back here with us. There's somebody from Leo Nitro. Nitro is a marketing communication firm, and it's amazing. Terry Maxwell, thank you very, very much. Kunle Sembore, thank you very much. That's a top banker. This is a great entrepreneur. Yomi Akande, thank you very much for joining us. And I mean, the list is endless because of our time. Madam Arieta Babajide, thank you very much for joining. Yomi Martins, that's the branding expert. Ajibola Olaoniye, all over from the United States. You're welcome. I mean, I can see people from across. Akinele Oludare, Tolu Aribisala. Thank you very much. Mr. Babawande, Sam Itama. Sam and myself were colleagues many years ago. Mr. Wandema Dekonomi, Tayo Lawal, and Timothy Adewale, Yusuf Wale, Adewale Ogundeyi. Thank you very much as we bring this to a close. Every Saturday, 3 o'clock, we have not had reasons to change the time, but if you feel that it's not convenient for a lot of people, please, we'll be very glad. You have our email and you have all our contacts so that you can connect with us, because we want this to be of value. Please tell friends, tell others, so that they can connect with us every time we have this opportunity. I won't want to leave this place without appreciating my colleagues in the Touchstone team that have made this journey every Saturday, worthwhile. Buki Oluyemi, Ibrahim Aweyemi, Jipo Ogundipe, Muwa Labi, Wisdom Aserifa, and many others. Thank you very much for all the hard work that you have to do every week to ensure that this happens. Once again, Pedro Omontuemhen, thank you for joining our faculty. I'm sure when we call you again, you'll be glad. You will be glad to join us. Can I get a yes on that? Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you say yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yes, because I want to get a yes in the midst of a cloud.
Yes, I will send you my. I will send you my invoice.
Yeah. A cloud of witnesses.
Thanks so much.